Hey guys, and welcome in this new episode. In this video series we are following me creating a SaaS MVP from scratch. The past days I have a few updates that I want to share with you, and let's dive immediately in. The biggest thing that I did so far is creating callbacks. You see it here in the view already. There's a new app I created, callback. And the idea is that one of the events in a trigger is a callback. We have a list already and we send an email. And let me show you what this exactly does or what it means. So we have callbacks here, and I have to tell you, in the planning that I've created at the start, I already had the idea somewhere here. Oh yeah, it was already figuring out, or on the nice to haves it was already here. So I was inspired, I started on this, but I don't have to finish this in the MVP, but yeah, now that I'm here, I kind of want it in. So yeah, that's a bit of the scary thing, that you want too many things or add too many features, but I really think that this is a kind of where it all is all about in the end, in the application. So yeah, well, I wanted to see it work. So what you can do now is create a callback, and this is one of the events, so we call it tester new, blah blah blah, blah. And yeah, for now you can only have to type model, but these are kind of presets, I would say. I don't know if they are, how important they are yet, but for now the form has a model from Bootstrap models. And this is the element that's pre-populated. I'm also not sure about this, if this is the way I want to design this, but for now this is workable for me at least. And also it's a bit strange still. Yeah, okay, so that works. And then you see a preview here, hi there. So you can say blah blah blah, whatever you want. Okay, so we create this. We already have one created, so yeah, now it's constantly here, but that's the HTML content. I add it on. It's still like in work in progress, I would say, so that's why if I do this, you would just see the HTML. It's maybe a bit easier for now. So what does this do? We have a trigger, and I think I added it here. There's an email. Let's see if we have a trigger. Well, let's add a new event. We say callback element. This element tester. Yeah, that's also new now. You can have a delay in the callback element. So that's also here. You can say like, I want to call this back in 4 seconds or minutes. It's not, the logic is not implemented yet, but that's something, yeah, that will be there. So we say create. Now we have this event, created a callback tester. So then we go to triggers and we say, yeah, see, so this was deleted. So let's say tester trigger, add event, callback tester. Yeah, how many times? Let's say 2 times. Yeah, unlimited, doesn't matter. And we create this. For now, this is it. And then we say we have a click event, this one, because it's already in a test button. And we say tester, save. Okay. So let's see if we can see this in action. Oops, I already revealed it here. Let's see. Still 500. There might be. Yeah, see, so I didn't implement this logic yet. Let's say callback. My OCD wants this now kind of on alphabetical order, but For now, let's keep it. And also I need void. There's also one I added. And that means that the trigger literally does nothing. These we need in, so let's just import them. Let's see. And we have to void from. Click event trigger to void. These two I need. Where was I here? So callback and void. And I think I hacked it differently the last time, so let's just see what this does. But then we need event trigger event ID, correct. Models. Oh no, here. And a callback event. It's very repetitive, so at one point I might want to do some refactoring, but that's not so important for now. Event, kind of this. I don't know if this works, but let's check it out. Here we are. No, so what I do for now, I will just add a page not live trigger, I think. And I hard coded this, so you can see what will happen. Yeah, so this will happen at one point. You can get this back, like a callback. And the funny thing now is, if I go to the admin, and I have a callback here, that's the callback that I call, I could say something like, well, we have a click event, and we can even make an infinite loop. We can add this click event to this button, let's say, just for fun. And now it becomes hacky, and that's the kind of the part that I find so interesting of this whole concept of this application, because now I'm a developer, I want to build stuff around this development kit, site tracker, and then I can say, okay, now we pop this up, and when I hit close, it comes again, because we kind of create an infinite loop. You can imagine what you can do here is say, if you hit close, then I want to store that to a list. You can even do tests like this. You can go wild with your own HTML elements. It's a very interesting concept. I'm sure something like this might already exist, but the way I implement it here is fun. And even after a page reload, yeah, so now it becomes annoying. Even after a page reload, it can also be called. I think it should be after this one. Let's see. Yeah. And you can imagine you can also create like a feedback thing here with like, how would you rate us? Like 10, and then you store 10 to the list 10 or whatever, or this user, you can do things there. So, or you trigger a whole email campaign, I don't know. It's interesting. So this is something I worked on that I'm very happy with, that I have this visual. Let's see, what I also did within the application itself is, when we have a drop down, I like this. I also do this in my other application. It's like an extra sub menu. So I don't need to go here when I go to click events. It's also not here. Right is always like the main action for me. That makes sense. And then we can go to click events. Main action is here. Domains, domain. this is still here. See, so it makes sense for me. And I also did that, of course, at triggers here, event triggers. Another thing I worked on, I have some more, like every session has a name, like it's a random name, Bright Meteor. You can update that name. So this view I kind of designed is a big word, but put like the blocks together and make it more visually logic. Make it makes more sense for me this way. This is now, so you can copy this. I use hashes here because I expect many visits. So, and it's a hash of the current time, so that, and it's unique per user, I think, per domain. I don't know, but probably it's unique overall. So, and the visits are collapsing. So if you have multiple, the newest one will also always be expanded, or other ones are collapsed. And here you can update the name. So I can say it's Sander, and I can do that via an API, of course. So if he clicked a certain button and we know the information because they signed up, we grab the session ID from the URL, and then with that session ID we can do an API call and update things in this view. For example, you can add metadata, or here you see click events. It's all stored. We see now he clicked this button 8 times, and the other one, they have like a wildcard value, so it's it starts to make sense as a developer now. I had this cool packages I use. I figured out, let's see what we use here. I already forgot the names. For the templates base, this is like the base template. Highlight JS, shout out. That's very cool. So you can just create these kind of views, and for the callback creation here, we use, let's see what we use, code mirror. So it's also very cool. I don't know if there are better ones, but for me this is works fine. I found it out, and this is quite cool for me. So that's also something I've added, and yeah, like what I say, this starts to make sense for me. Yeah. What I also did is I reached out to some designers on Fiverr, because at our main homepage right now, this is too ugly. I need someone that with some design or illustration skills that sets this up. So I talked to a few guys right now and see who has some ideas. And on Fiverr, it's very, very affordable for Western standards. So then I have like, I think it's 30 to 50 euro per illustration. And what I kind of want is a main here, and then for each feature at least one illustration, and then I can reuse those illustrations here. So what I want to do is the hero, they call it, so the one here, and then each feature will be explained here, like features, and then maybe after that some testimonials or case studies, and then some big call to action. But at least I've then, like every feature, one illustration and one main one here. That's something I now kind of try to buy on Fiverr. So yeah, I make progress. I'm happy with it. Many ideas. I have here a list, and it's just talking to myself in many ways. What I also did is I've recorded a video where I kind of explain the whole application from A to Z, everything it does. And I sent to a few of my friends that are kind of understanding the concepts here, and with a question like, hey, can you give some feedback on the market, on kind of how who would use this and how would they use it. So I hope to have some answers from them soon. And I feel like I need more feedback, but that's something I have to figure out. We have a lot of time left, but it also goes pretty fast. So yeah, and then many of these small things that pop up in my mind, like, hey, if I create a list, remove a list, I can just do it right now, which doesn't make sense if the list is part of an event. And if I want to remove an event, it cannot be removed if it's part of a trigger. So we kind of need to keep track of that with some validations. It's boring stuff to build, but it makes sense to do that already for the MVP. Also, another thing that I was thinking about is that these callbacks, I cannot imagine a case that you use them for checks, for URL monitoring, because they are parsed back in the browser. And the same as lists, we have two types of lists. We have the tracking, so the domain tracking, and the checks, URL monitoring, and they have different columns. You cannot add columns to with your own liking, because what to populate. And in that case, we kind of need some validation checks there, because if an event or a trigger consists of an event with only a check purpose, it cannot be used for tracking, etc. Or you cannot add a callback event if it's a check. So kind of I was thinking about, that's the way I think I did it. Let me see. I already added a field to the database in the trigger. Yeah, so I did purposes, and first I thought just a Boolean checkbox like multi-purpose or not, like is multi-purpose with Boolean, but that doesn't make sense, because what if we have what kind of purposes, So I think now we have a purposes character field. We can populate like this, like list, email, callback, void. That's now all the. Oh no. Oh. It's good that I just write this down, because it's check or tracker. Yeah. And maybe later more, so that's why I wanted something scalable, like a character field, and then we can convert it to a list or whatever, or just say if tracker is in this field, it doesn't really matter, but this is a good check, I think. And then we just populate with one or the other or both. And we write like one logic or some function or maybe something here within the class, and constantly when you save it, it checks and validates. So something like this that I will build also the coming days. Yeah, and then what I want to work on also, and then I shut up, is I'm doing a lot of JavaScript work in this session file, but that's kind of, this will be accessible for everyone using the application, of course, but there's a lot going on here and it has to make sense. I'm learning a lot of JavaScript as well. It's because I want to write it vanilla here, and I'm used to using jQuery a lot, but I think for a file like this, it needs to be vanilla. I was already refactoring it in different files, but it only makes it very difficult to implement in a script tag. Maybe you guys have some ideas for that. I didn't figure it out, so now I just do it like this, right? Utils. I would normally put that in the utils or I would refactor this much more. But now it's just one big file. And it's a lot about states, like we put something in local source, grab it back, and that kind of stuff. And also like you have we process the href and attributes, and there's a lot happening here that constantly has to make sense. So that's a lot of checking and writing. That's something I will also focus more on the coming days. Yeah, so I talked a lot this video. I hope you like it, and also I hope to inspire you, or maybe you have some suggestions or feedback, and please let me know in the comments or with a private message on Twitter. It doesn't really matter for me. I'm accessible. You can just reach me. If you like it, don't forget to subscribe on the video, and I plan to do this like an update like every 2 days or so, when I have really something to show. So you can expect one soon, and see you in the next one. Bye.